Hello and welcome to our special report, The Middle East in Crisis. I'm Lee Webb. Here's what's happening today. The fighting in Libya is causing a spike in oil and gas prices. This week, the price of a barrel of oil topped $102. The average price for a gallon of regular gasoline is now $3.42. That's up 32 cents from last month. In some parts of the country, a gallon of gasoline costs $4 or even $5. We understand that in the city of Philadelphia, it's up to $5. Analysts say the high prices could also send the price of food soaring and further weaken our economy. Today, we will explore the impact of the changes in the Middle East on the U.S. economy and its effect on the 2012 presidential elections. Our panel today consists of Capitol Hill correspondent John Jessup and terrorism analyst Eric Stakelbeck from our Washington bureau. And joining me here in the studio, CBN senior editor John Wogge and our guest Karen Miner-Hurd, executive director of the Virginia Tea Party Alliance, which is a political action committee. John Jessup in Washington, let me begin with you. How do you think Republicans as well as Democrats and the administration are reacting now to how the Middle East crisis is affecting oil prices?
Well, everyone's going to be reacting pretty soon. Right now, oil prices are somewhat managed because you have the Saudis who've stepped in to compensate for Libya's lack of production, up to 1 billion gallons of oil a day. Barrels. But you're talking about some unrest that if it spreads to Saudi Arabia and develops the same way that we're seeing in Libya, they could go offline. And you're talking about oil or gasoline prices hitting people at the pumps anywhere from $10 to $20 a gallon. So everyone's going to be stepping in and addressing this issue soon.
John, how do you think this might affect the 2012 election?
Well, it's going to affect it just in the ripple effect that it would have in the economy, and also politically speaking, Republicans are really getting fired up now about this business of not drilling for oil, halting drilling in the Gulf Coast, in the Rocky Mountains, in Alaska, and this is money going right out the U.S. Treasury's
door. They're under
door.
Enormous pressure from environmental groups not to explore for oil domestically.
Absolutely, and that's going to be a major 2012 issue.
Karen Hurd, tell us about that from the Tea Party's perspective. What is your position on oil exploration domestically?
Well, first off, I have to say that the Tea Party is not a monolith any more than America is a monolith. And I only represent, in some ways, some folks. Obviously, we have a range within the Tea Party movement. But I think what this highlights for the Tea Party movement is the founders often talked about foreign entanglements. And when most of your oil comes from places not Alaska and not the United States and not in the continental shelf of the United States, you get foreign entanglements. And then that throws a whole lot of issues into question for spending, foreign policy decisions. And then again, we have the ability to be energy self-reliant. Why aren't we?
Eric Stakelbeck, I wanted to get your opinion on that as it relates to your analysis of terrorism around the world. Does this really hurt the U.S. In terms of terrorism?
Lee, absolutely. The reliance on foreign oil sources, and John Jessup makes a great point. Lee, the nightmare scenario here, the apocalyptic scenario economy-wise, is if Saudi Arabia becomes embroiled in this chaos and the oil flow there is shut off. What do we do? So this is why you're going to see, I think, the GOP continue to push for these alternative energy sources and for drilling. But the nightmare scenario here, Lee, is Saudi Arabia, the Saudi regime, toppling into radical jihadist hands. And also look for an increase right now. The jihadists smell blood in the water. They see the instability. Look for an increase in terrorist attacks targeted against oil pipelines. Al-Qaeda has talked about this for some time. And when it comes to Libya, by the way, Lee, all bets are off the table with Gaddafi. Will he blow up his own oil reserves? That's a big question, and God knows what that will do to oil prices worldwide.
Karen, you wanted to add to that?
I was going to say, Saddam Hussein, they did it in Kuwait, right? They blew up their own oils because for them, it's not about what's right. It's about what makes the biggest mess, what creates the largest amount of chaos.
If we could, I'd like to go to back to that map of the Middle East. And Eric, tell us which of the countries are most prolific in oil production.
Well, I don't see the map right now, but I can tell you, there it is. Libya, Saudi Arabia, the whole Gulf region, Lee. You have Libya, but then that Gulf region of Saudi Arabia, of Bahrain, of the United Arab Emirates, of Oman, and then, of course, Iraq, vast oil reserves, and Iran as well. So the Gulf, Saudi, UAE, Oman, Bahrain, other than Bahrain, has not tasted this instability yet, although we have seen some protests in Oman as well. I think one of the reasons for that, Lee, quite frankly, is the Persian Gulf region right there is relatively affluent. If you look at the other countries that have blown up over the past 2 months, places like Egypt, Libya, abject poverty. But the Gulf region is relatively affluent. But if the instability does start to touch those major oil-producing countries, Saudi Arabia chief among them, all bets are off the table, and you'll have a real global economic crisis without a doubt.
You've spoken of Saudi Arabia more than once here. What are the chances of that government being toppled?
Well, the Saudis right now, Lee, I can tell you, are petrified of what's going on. They saw Hosni Mubarak, their ally in Egypt, fall. Let's face it, about 2 months ago, this didn't seem in the realm of possibility that Hosni Mubarak could be toppled. Now he's gone, and it happened in 18 days overnight. Just like that, Mubarak is gone. The Saudis are petrified by what they're seeing going on right now. I think, Lee, that they're going to become even more repressive at home to keep down any opposition movements. But the best organized opposition in Saudi Arabia across the board, and why I'm bringing it up and why I'm so concerned, the best organized opposition forces in that country are radical jihadists, even more radical than the very radical current Saudi regime.
John Jessup, this really is a tightrope that the administration has to walk with regards to oil, the price of oil, and here domestically, the price of gasoline. How do you suppose they're going to walk it?
Well, that's the problem right now. People are asking, what is the administration's policy? And I think the real issue is that the administration is trying to define its policy. Things are moving very quickly. And, of course, America traditionally is always on the side of democratic reform and democracy. The problem here, as Eric pointed out, is that you have these uprisings that are taking place, but you're not exactly sure who's going to rise up to power. In Egypt, are the Muslim Brotherhood going to have power? If that's the case, then you really put the U.S. in a very, very tricky situation because of our strategic alliances there, particularly with Israel. How do you balance your alliance and your partnerships with countries like that if other countries who have peace agreements like Egypt and Jordan with Israel start to fall off and the new governments that rise up tend not to honor that? So the administration has a real tightrope that it's walking, as you mentioned, Lee, and it's still not clear exactly where they're falling.
John Waggy, this could be an open door, even a bigger open door for Republicans than in 2012. Do you think?
Well, it can, and also the administration is caught in a trap of its own devices. I mean, they are backed solidly by the environmentalists, and now the reality of oil prices is hitting them smack in the face, along with all the environmental restrictions they put on. So there's an internal tension within the administration that Republicans will probably exploit.
Okay, we want to explore this issue much further. We also want to get into the issue of should the U.S. even be involved in international intervention overseas. We're going to talk to Karen Hurd with the Virginia Tea Party Alliance about that. We'll have an interesting debate, I'm sure. We'll have more from our panel of experts, but first, let's go to Lori Johnson in our newsroom. She has the top stories of the day. Lori?
Lee, the attack on a busload of U.S. airmen in Germany is being called an act of Islamic terrorism. Eyewitnesses say the terrorist shouted "Jihad, Jihad" as he went on a shooting rampage outside Germany's Frankfurt airport Wednesday. Officials say the suspect claims to have acted alone, but he's confessed to targeting members of the American military. He's been identified as 21-year-old Arid Uka, a Muslim immigrant from Kosovo. Uka's relatives say they don't know how this could have happened. They admit he's a devout Muslim, but say the family has always been pro-American. Prosecutors are pursuing the death penalty against Philadelphia abortion doctor Kermit Gosnell. The late-term abortionist was formally arraigned Wednesday, charged with killing 7 babies and 1 woman. Gosnell's attorney says his client would most likely die of old age before he was executed. He's 70 now. Texas legislators are debating a controversial abortion bill there. The bill requires women to view an ultrasound, hear a heartbeat, and then wait 24 hours before having an abortion. A version passed by the Senate allows women to opt out of the ultrasound requirement by signing a waiver. Critics say the bill is an attempt to guilt women out of having an abortion, but advocates say they're trying to give women the most complete information about their decision. Coming up, more from our panel of experts on the crisis in the Middle East.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
These are the greatest stories ever told. Presented by Academy Award winner Charlton Heston.
Thus saith the Lord of Israel, let my people go.
Join Charlton Heston as he travels the sacred lands of the Bible.
I'm going to take you with me on a journey exploring the stories in the Bible and the ancient land where they happened. This is said to be the very garden. This, the very rock where Jesus prayed for strength.
Now the Bible comes to life like never before. Time Life presents Charlton Heston's The Bible.
And Moses cast the tablets from his hands.
Praised by critics, this landmark TV series is now available on digitally remastered DVDs. You'll be inspired by the greatest stories from the Old and New Testaments, enhanced by historic works of art. Get Charlton Heston Presents the Bible on 4 DVDs for $49.99. Call with your credit card and save $10.
And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son.
And that's not all. You'll also get a free bonus DVD that takes you behind the scenes. And if you call in the next 10 minutes, we'll ship for free. That's an additional savings of nearly $7.
For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever.
Call now to get Charlton Heston's The Bible on 5 DVDs for just $39.99. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll ship for free.
Now therefore go, and I will be with thee.
Call 1-800-748-5167 to order Charlton Heston Presents the Bible for $39.99 and receive free shipping when you call in the next 10 minutes with your credit card.
Okay. Sir, it would be challenging. You would have to remove the air defense capability in order to establish the no-fly zone. So it just no illusions here. It would be a military operation. It wouldn't simply be telling people not to fly airplanes.
That is Marine 4-star General James Mattis. He is the head of the U.S. Central Command, which deals with the Middle East. And he was referring there in testimony before, I assume it could be the Senate Armed Services Committee on Capitol Hill yesterday, the problems of establishing a no-fly zone over Libya. Eric, let me ask you about that. Do you suppose that that the military intervention might be used and that we might launch an airstrike on Libya?
Lee, first of all, I think it's going to get very bloody and very, very nasty in Libya as this continues. It's already been very nasty. I think it's going to get even worse, whether Gaddafi stays or whether he goes. Now, all that said, when it does become, not if, when it does become more of a carnage-type situation, you're going to see more and more pressure on the West, specifically the Obama administration, to get involved and put a stop to the bloodshed. It's an open question right now whether NATO, the U.S., I don't think, Lee, would do anything unilaterally, but will NATO? David Cameron, the other day, the British Prime Minister, made some noise about enforcing that no-fly zone. Now he's kind of backed off. Will NATO be able to get all on the same page, led by the U.S., and enforce a no-fly zone? And the general's right. This will not just be an easy type endeavor where we just say, hey, no planes in or out of Libya. Libya has surface-to-air missiles that are a pretty good arsenal of surface-to-air missiles that, look, Gaddafi's a madman. He knows he's going out anyway. Why not go out in a blaze of glory? They probably would use those surface-to-air missiles. I think the main message of a no-fly zone would be a kind of intimidation-type tactic by the West. Look, if you dare use those airplanes, Gaddafi, against civilians, we will rain down on you and take out the surface-to-air missiles and take out your entire Air Force. So I think it's more of an intimidation tactic. I think at the end of the day, the West really doesn't want to get its hands dirty there if it doesn't have to.
Yeah, my question to John Waggy, it would be, how would the rest of the Arab world react to us, even establishing a no-fly zone?
Well, I think that over time in the Arab world, the whole presence of Western forces in a Muslim country is problematic. And so I think that there would be quiet relief on the one hand in some regimes, and in others there would be, outright criticism but any Western influence on a country like Libya can be exploited throughout the whole Muslim world.
I guess I'm referring more to the man on the street. How would he be for it? To the person protesting in Yemen and Bahrain and
would be for Western intervention? Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think it's the whole idea of the U.S. is a force for ill in the world. 92% of Egyptians believe America and Israel are the top forces for bad in Egypt. So,
okay, we'll be back with more of our panel of experts to discuss should the U.S. even be involved in thinking about getting involved militarily overseas.
What makes the miracles of Jesus even more miraculous? Standing where they happened, in Israel. Come explore Jerusalem, where Jesus opened blind eyes. Visit the hills of Galilee, where Jesus fed the multitude. Stroll through Capernaum, where Jesus lived and taught and healed. To learn more about standing where it all happened in Israel, visit www.goisrael.com. Come visit Israel.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Call our toll-free number or visit our website. A free idea kit and DVD will be sent to your home so you can discover all the benefits of owning your own pool. Compared to traditional pools, endless pools are simple to install, easy to maintain, and economical to run. Our precision-engineered pools enable you to swim or exercise against a smooth current that adjusts to any speed and ability. Endless pools are perfect for year-round health and fitness, relaxation, and family fun. Our free idea kit and DVD will show you how easy it is for the whole family to enjoy a pool right in your backyard or home. An endless pool or an endless pool swim spa can become a showplace for your home. Call our toll-free number or visit the website to find out more about endless pools. The free idea kit will show you just how easy it is to be able to swim at home.
What makes the miracles of Jesus even more miraculous? Standing where they happened, in Israel. Come sail the Sea of Galilee, where Jesus calmed a raging storm. Experience Jerusalem, where Jesus restored a paralyzed man. Explore Capernaum, where Jesus spoke a centurion servant into health. To learn more about standing where it all happened in Israel, visit goisrael.com. Come visit Israel.
Welcome back to our special report, The Middle East in Crisis. America, of course, has had a long history of involvement in world affairs, including the Middle East. And through the years, politicians and voters have had varying opinions on how involved America should be around the world. Karen Miner-Hurd from the Tea Party, I wanted to get your opinion on that first. Are we too entangled in foreign affairs?
Short answer, and it's an oversimplification, would be yes. I think that's part of the problem. It relates to spending. It relates to stretching our military resources way too thin and creating that domino effect of issues that we then have to clean up mess after mess after mess. I think for many within the Tea Party movement, again, there's a continuum of thought. Some who say absolutely none, basically, let's secure our own borders. That would be a shot. But some are like, think along the lines of Ron Paul, absolute zero intervention unless an absolute direct
What are your
threat.
thoughts? Should we be in Afghanistan? Would you like to see us out of there once and for all?
That's a difficult question for me to answer, especially if I have a son that goes. But I think the issue is, do we go after al-Qaeda? Yes.
Right.
I think part of the issue constitutionally is when the founders set forth our Constitution, you didn't fight an ideology, you fought a nation state. And so there's really no way for Congress to act against an ideology that's declared war against us. That's the first thing. Secondly, Pakistan may be the issue. And the question comes down to not do we go after our enemies, but do we sit there and nation build and squander a huge amount of American resources with a net effect with no return on investment, so to speak, in a nation that really doesn't want a representative U.S.-style form of government.
John, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, even Thomas Jefferson, when he was president, ordered U.S. Marines into Tripoli.
In fact, Jefferson didn't even want a navy. He bought a navy because Barbary pirates were attacking Americans in North Africa. So
and that was a case of self-defense. I mean, even the Tea Party might agree that that was a prudent action.
Right. I guess my feeling is jihad is still going to be jihad. I mean, they're not going to say, if the U.S. pulls out its presence everywhere in the world, the jihadists aren't going to say, okay, that's it, we give up. You know, let's just have peace. That's not going to happen. And so there are realities we're going to have to face, and probably the major one remains, the one the international community doesn't want to deal with, is Iran's quest for a nuclear bomb, and they're well on their way to that, you know, and they seem to be wanting to handle every other nation in the region at this point, but not Iran. And
Eric, I wanted to get your opinion on that. There are a lot of folks who are just weary. They're war weary. That we've been in Iraq for so many years. Things are still hanging in the balance in Afghanistan. What are your thoughts?
Well, Lee, John makes a great point. Jihad is going to be jihad. Look at the historical precedent. For everyone who wants to be isolationist and wants to pull out of every country and just kind of withdraw within our borders and not have much contact with the outside world, look at the historical precedent of Islamic jihad. Before America was even founded as a nation, before Israel was reestablished as a nation. Now, right now, the Islamic world blames America and Israel for all its ills. But even before that, there was an unbroken string of Islamic jihad from the year 632, when Islam roared out of the Arabian Peninsula, until the 18th century. When the Ottoman Empire was finally weakened. But in between that time, there was centuries and centuries of jihad that wasn't provoked by the West. Offensive, aggressive jihad by Islamic jihadists against the West, where they conquered Spain, where they conquered Sicily, where they drove into France, conquered Greece, conquered the Balkans, conquered a good chunk of Europe. And that was unprovoked. That is the jihadist ideology, to subjugate the world to Islam. Whether we're there or not, they're coming for us, because that's the ideology. Yeah, there seems to be some sort of inevitability of all this. I was thinking about World War II. In the late 30s, Roosevelt and the administration didn't want to get involved early on. Well, maybe Roosevelt did, but was compelled not to get involved. But there was an inevitability to us getting involved, not only in Europe, but in Japan in World War II. We're going to wrap up our discussion. Please stay with us as we return for our special Middle East crisis report.
Millions of women worldwide love Bare Minerals.
This is smooth, it's nice, and it covers. I like that.
Only Bare Minerals looks like beautiful bare skin, while it covers whatever you want it to. And now you can get our latest kit with our totally new, totally spill-proof Click Lock Go Foundation for over 75% off retail. Our new kit comes with Bare Minerals Foundation in the shade that's just right for you. Warmth for a healthy glow. Mineral Veil, the ultimate finishing touch. And Bare Minerals Flawless Application Brush. Call now and get 3 full-size gifts worth $57.95 free. Purchased separately, you'd spend over $120. Our original Get Started kit was a great deal at 2 payments of $29.99. But now you can get all this for just 1 payment of $29.99. Save over $90 and get a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Call 1-800-376-4174. Ask how you can receive this handy compact. Call 1-800-376-4174 now.
It's impossible to close an open can with a pop top. Open cans spill in the fridge. What a mess. And open cans lose their fizz. What a waste. Introducing Bottle Top. It turns your can into a bottle with the snap of a cap. Open metal cans can't travel. What a waste. Bottle Top turns your can into a bottle that's perfectly portable. You can't do this with an open can. Bottle Top lets any soda keep its carbonation. Look, bugs are gross, but Bottle Top protects your drink from insects. When you're done drinking, just pop it off. Rinse under hot water water, and reuse. Bottle Top keeps drinks from spilling. Now get 6 colored bottle tops for just $10. Call now and get 6 more. Plus, we'll send you the can top popper. Just pay separate shipping and handling. You get 12 amazing bottle tops, plus the can top popper, all for just $10.
Call 1-800-377-9176. But hurry, call now. We're giving away a bonus 6 more bottle tops and the can top popper with today's orders. That's 1-800-377-9176. Call now.
Thanks for joining us on this special Middle East Crisis Report. John Jessup, as we wrap up our program today, I wanted to check with you to see if you feel like the administration realizes the gravity that's at stake here with regards to Egypt. They have gone through a revolutionary change. Mubarak is no longer there, but do they understand and appreciate fully that if they lose Egypt, that really could make Barack Obama a one-term administration?
I think they do have a sense of that. I think that's part of the reason why it took President Obama so long to actually come out and advocate for Mubarak to step down. It's because of that strategic partnership. But I think that this could come back and really hurt the administration, especially as we look down the road into 2012. You have a lot of people who are looking at the administration saying, hey, we're squandering an opportunity here when it comes to advocating for democratic reform. When you have these uprisings and you see these people being attacked by their government, we should step in. Of course, there are people who feel very differently that we shouldn't intervene. But when it comes to people who are looking for strong leadership, there's that comparison that people are making when you have someone like a Ronald Reagan who steps up to the microphone and says, tear down this wall, and you have Barack Obama who seemed a little bit reserved, like he didn't want to say anything. So,
John Waggy, you think the issue goes much further than just Egypt and losing Egypt possibly?
Well, absolutely. It's a sense of wanting to negotiate with our enemies and giving the cold shoulder to our friends, most specifically Israel. And the Israelis are very disturbed by how Egypt went down. And the comparison, for those of us who are old enough to remember, it's Jimmy Carter all over again. When American interests were jeopardized all over the world, there seemed to be a lack of recognition in the White House as to what was going on. And that brought the rise of Ronald Reagan, who said, not only, that he would stand with our allies and fight the Soviet Union, but also, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago?
Sounds like you're predicting Barack Obama as a one-term president.
Well, no, I'm not predicting that, because the times have changed, our media world has changed, and I don't know that that's the case, but I know the case that Republicans are going to be making and conservatives are going to be making on the foreign policy front.
Karen, in the context of our conversation today, who are the conservatives we should be watching for in 2012?
I think as folks within the Tea Party movement look at it, I think Mitt Romney's off the table, Newt Gingrich off the table, Huckabee off the table, Palin, mixed support. Some of us, I like her as a person. I think leaving the governorship midway through your term is not good for somebody who may have presidential aspirations, and I don't think we want a president who, a reality show, we see her yelling at the kids. The other thing is, I think conservatives are looking for people who have that branch between strong economic policy that's traditionally American, which I think then can enhance our foreign policy as well. And they're looking for somebody who can really do that, and they're not buying into the left-wing media line at all.
Karen Miner-Hurd, thank you for being with us today. John Waggy, your insights as well. Eric Stakelbeck and John Jessup from Washington. And thank you all for being with us today. We'll see you next time.
Welcome to the 700 Club.
They started discussing between the two of them a need to pray for this guy. Call on the name of the Lord. Come on, God, give me the buzz. I was joking around. I was daring God. They finished praying. And Ben says, the guy we were praying for didn't get the buzz he was looking for. My heart stopped. He spoke to me that night and he said, when you're serious, I'm going to scream out the name of Jesus and he'll save you. And I remember what Ben said, and I screamed out, Jesus, Jesus, help me, save me. The very second I did that. If you don't believe in miracles, then don't believe in me, because I am one. I felt the buzz.
We as
CBN.com users how we could make our website easier to use. And we listened.
This is really easy to read and move through.
The information opens up a whole lot quicker.
Yeah, it's much faster. There's everything I'm interested in right here. The click of a mouse.
The new CBN.com has been redesigned, making it faster to find your favorite 700 Club stories, musical guests, our online community, and special features.
Anyone can enjoy this new site.
Visit the new CBN.com today.